Aha! Good morning. Here we are, 80 BPM, eighth note triplets. Let's get going. 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right, left, 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 right, left. Starting off today, as always, single stroke rolls. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yesterday I was talking a lot, changed the order up a little bit, and today I want to do a little bit more learning. Yesterday I talked about community, different kind of learning. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're going to move through some different rates, some different subdivisions, eighth notes, triplets, sixteenths. Always thinking about our posture, that we're sat nice and straight, nice relaxed shoulders, bringing the sticks up to 90 degrees between strokes, pointing to the sky, to the gods of drums. Hope you're all feeling fine this morning. Grey and overcast here in Hamburg. We've had nice weather last days. What's going on? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right, left, 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 right, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice relaxed shoulders, nice straight back. Good morning, new people joining. We want to keep our shoulders relaxed, arms relaxed, playing from the wrist, not too much movement from the rest of the arms. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Good morning, Mario. You're addicted to this. Guitarist now obsessed with drums. Awesome to see. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Later on I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite drummers, Steve Smith. Wonderful, wonderful drummer. I'm being blinded a little bit today. I've set myself up a light because it's so dark outside and can't rely on that Hamburg sunshine. Let's move this to a triplet. A lot of people struggle with triplets because the left hand has to take the lead for the second half of the triplet. You'll see what I mean. Right, left, 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 right, left. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Right, left, 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 right, left. Ah, feels good, no? Right, left, 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 right, left. Staying nice and relaxed. All of this needs to come from the wrists. Left, right, 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 left, right. I talk a lot about singing in the lessons, that we should be singing our rhythms. Steve Smith really hits the nail on the head with this. Talk a bit more about that later. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Of course, triplets are really important, and we're going to be coming back, following on from yesterday, to some more triplets, rudiments later on. Left, right, 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 left. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Checking your posture, making sure your back is nice and straight, leaning back just a tiny bit, shoulders relaxed, head balancing nicely on top of the shoulders, right, left, 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 right, left. Posture so important so that we don't damage ourselves. Technique so important so that we don't damage ourselves. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. In a second, I'm going to move this up to a 16th note. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Coming up, 2 triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4. Confused myself there. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. It's a practice session. You've got to practice. No matter how long you've been playing for, young or old, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a right, left, 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 right, right, left, 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 right. It might be, as you speed up, that the sticks can't come all the way back to 90 degrees. Of course, as we speed up, the movement gets a little smaller, a little bit more concise, but ideally, we want to be still swinging back as much as possible and really getting the most out of our warm-up, the most out of our playing here. It's the sticks doing the work. We're just helping them back down. They're bouncing up. We're just nudging them back down. Right, left, 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 right, left. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and left, right, 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 left. E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and moving from the triplet to the 16th note or back down to the 8th note is a really, really tricky thing to do. That's something we need to practice a lot to get the feel for that. So about 30 seconds time, going to move us back down to the triplet, back down to the 8th, and up and down a few times in 4-bar phrases. So we'll play 4 bars of each rhythm, each subdivision. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and another 10 seconds of this. 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and back down to the triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Now back down to our 8th note. 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and still checking your posture. 4 and 1 and back to the triplet. And 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet. Back to the 16th. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a feels weird. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a back to the triplet. E and a 4 E and a 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3. Like changing gears. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2. Back to the 8th. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3. Back to the triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet. Back to the 16th. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, that's it. 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a back to the triplet. 4 E and a 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet. Back to the 8th. 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and bum 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the triplet. 1 7 da 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 da. And back to the 16th for the last time. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a bum. Excellent stuff. Where hopefully you guys are nicely warmed up now. Some doubles. 1 and 2 and 8th note rate. 4 and right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Double stroke rolls. Right, right, left, left. Checking your posture. Right, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Nice and relaxed. Coming back between every stroke to our 90-degree position. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and really nice. And 3 and 4 and right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Hope you've all had nice days, these last days. Not going insane in your isolation bubble. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. I'm practicing on a pillow again today. Solidarity this week to all the drummers who don't have kits at home, don't even have practice pads. Maybe you don't even have sticks or brushes, and you're just using some kitchen utensils, some random pieces of wood you found in the back garden or the garage. Whatever you got, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. In a minute, I'm going to move us to the triplet with a double. This is even stranger than when we're playing the singles as triplets, where we have that left hand lead for the second triplet and the fourth triplet. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in the double stroke roll over triplets, then the second note of a double lands on beat 2, and then the beat 3 starts with a left hand double, and then the second note of the right hand double lands on beat 4. Very confusing when you talk about it like that. Not so bad in real life. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and checking our posture, checking we're nice and relaxed, nice and straight. Let's move to that triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, right, right, left, left, 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 da 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 da, right, right, left, left, 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 lovely stuff. Da 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 da, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Feels really nice, a little bit more even, a little bit more balanced when we've got these triplets going on, because the left hand gets equal rights with the right hand, sharing the lead a little bit more. Right, right, left, left, 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 right, right, left, left. Keep checking your posture, guys. I confused myself there. 4, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, right, right, left, left, 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 right, right, left, left. We want to keep our posture good, keep the sticks coming up to the sky. Da da da, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, nice and relaxed. Da 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 da. Make sure I'm doing the same as I'm telling you guys. Right, right, left, left, 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 right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Lead by example. Da da da, do as I do, not as I say. Right, right, left, left, 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 right, 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 left, left. move this up to a 16th note for the last minute or so of our doubles. Da da da, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a right right left left 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 right right 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 left left 1E and a 2E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a da 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 right right left left right right left left right right left left right right left left. Don't forget to breathe. Not so easy for me while I'm chatting away. Right left left right right left left right right left left. We've got to breathe. If we don't breathe, we tense up. Right right left left right right left left right right left left, and any tension will slow us down. Tension is our enemy. Da 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 right right left left 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 right right left left. This is a good reason to sing your rhythms as well. It keeps them feeling like they're coming from the same source. Right right left left right right left left right right left left right right left left right right, rather than giving the different value that right right left left gives you. Right right left left right right left left right right left left right right left left makes them feel even, or makes us think about them more evenly, as well as keeping the breath flowing, of course. Right left left right right left left. Can't get my mouth around things today. Right right left left right right left left right right left left right right left left right right left left. When it comes to getting your mouth around things, you will see in a little bit when I'm talking about Steve Smith a little bit more about this. He's very much into this conical syllabic system from India, where you sing all your rhythms. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Super cool, super interesting, ancient art of drumming comes from the tabla drumming system, a spoken rhythm system. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Good stuff. Let's move to our paradiddle. Right, left, right, right, as an eighth note. Left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left. Paradiddle. Left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. The paradiddle is named for the para part is the two singles at the start, and the diddle is the double. Paradiddle, paradiddle, paradiddle. So straight away here, we can use this as an aid to help us remember the sticking. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. And help ourselves when we're starting to speed it up. And maybe that's easier to say than right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, 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 right. I'm playing this all equal volume at the moment, but when we speed a paradiddle up, we want to put an accent on the start. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, paradiddle, paradiddle. But for our warm-up, I don't want us to do that. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. It's going to confuse us when we come to the triplet in a moment. But when we're playing it as 16ths, and when we've got the hang of it in triplets, we do want that in there. Right, left, right, Right, you all got that? Good. Gonna move to the triplets. One triplet, two triplet, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, 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 left, right, left, right, right, left, right. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet, one triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. Checking your posture. No tension, please. Oops, sorry. Left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right. Confuse myself. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right. The thing about the paradiddle here is that it actually takes 2 bars now for us to get back to the beginning of our sticking. Left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. The second bar starting with the left hand. Left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Isn't that lovely? Left, right, left, paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. When you do get those accents in there, they move so beautifully over the triplet. A rhythm of 4/3. Polyrhythms. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Let's just get to a little last bit of paradiddle. Now trying it as a 16th. Here we go. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now bringing that accent in, if you're comfortable with that. Feel like I've got something in my eye. Maybe it's just a little tear of emotion at the beauty of a triplet. Paradiddle, 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 or rather, paradiddle over a triplet, because a triplet paradiddle is another rudiment. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right. Keep checking your posture, guys, that you're nice and relaxed, breathing, not tensing up. Tension is the enemy of speed. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. If we keep any tension in our muscles, it's just going to slow us down. Imagine trying to run while tense. Just going to fall over. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, 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 right, left, right, left. In a second, we're going to move to our secondary beat roll. One of my favorite exercises for speeding up your doubles. Couple more bars. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, bringing us right down to the quarter note rate now. Left, left, losing my voice today. Left, right, right, left, left. That seems to shift it. Right, left, left, right, right, left, left. So if you're new to this, we've got a quiet note followed by a loud note with each hand. Quiet, loud, 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 quiet, loud. These just will get your doubles rolling, sounding so good, so strong. Naturally, because of the law of diminishing returns, our second beat of our double, if we just use the bounce, will be quieter. So it's really important to practice purposefully making the second note louder. Left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. When we speed these up, we will start to lose that accent and hopefully just end up with nice rolling doubles, even rolling doubles. Left, making sure we're relaxed, shoulders relaxed, arms relaxed, brain relaxed, not too relaxed, you've got to focus. Left, left, right, right, left, left, checking our technique, that we're not squeezing in at the elbows. We want a little bit of air between the elbows and ribs. Right, left, 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 right, right, left, left, right, right. Hopefully that's feeling okay. So let's move up to the eighth note. Left, right, right, left, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, left. Checking our posture, checking our position on our seat. Right, left, left. Nice towards the back of the seat. Right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Weight going through your bottom, through the seat. Left, right, right, left, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and this should all be coming from the arms, not too much movement from the body. When we're performing, perhaps we want to throw ourselves around a little bit more to perform, but when we're practicing, we really want to be practicing for perfect technique. Left, left, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and one more minute of these at this rate and 2, eighth note speed, secondary beat roll, and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1. I really wanted to have super fast doubles when I was younger. My drum teacher could do these lovely, lovely doubles, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And he said, mate, just practice secondary beat rolls. I said, what? What is this secondary beat roll? Secondary beat roll. And he showed me. I practiced it for weeks, months, years, still practicing it today, 25 years later, 3 and 4. And it is so good. It also fits into so many things, utilizing that second, that accent on the second beat, a shuffle perhaps, loads of things, really, really useful. Let's now just see if we can push ourselves to do this as a triplet. 1 triplet and triplet, 2 triplet, right, right, left, left, 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 right, right, 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 left, da, 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 da 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 lovely. Finding the music in there. Excellent. Very, very nice, guys. Doing good. Give yourself a little break. You've just been playing drums. If you've been here since the start for 30 minutes, and I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And then I want to talk about Steve Smith. Steve Smith. Steve Smith, phenomenal drummer, educator, clinician, does loads of masterclasses, loads of videos, got a ton of instructional videos, DVDs, etc. Always involved. I think he might be a teacher at Berkeley College. I didn't look this up. Absolutely top player. His technique is phenomenal. His musicality is off the wall as well. Which is a rare combination, of course, having both technique and musicality. Some people get too stuck into technique, and you've got to be careful there. You've got to play the music at the end of it, not about playing the fastest double stroke rolls you can, although there's a moment for those, of course, as well. I saw Steve Smith years and years ago when I was studying drums at college, actually, and he was playing at Ronnie Scott's. Ronnie Scott's back then was had a different kind of lineup than it does now at Ronnie Scott's. For those of you who don't know, it's one of the oldest jazz clubs in London, or in the UK probably. And they used to have the same band on for a week. So you would go Monday through to Saturday, and you would have one band playing with a local support band. So usually an American big, famous jazz band coming in with a lesser known British jazz band supporting. I got to see some great artists while I was studying in London, and had a membership there. And the membership was amazing because it was not that expensive. But then on Monday to Thursday with your membership, you could get in for £5, £5, nothing. So me and my drumming buddies at college would go along quite regularly, saw some incredible bands. And sometimes if they were worth it, we'd go Monday and then Thursday as well, or whatever, see them twice. And Steve Smith was there playing with his band Vital Information. Really recommend checking out Vital Information. It's kind of crazy, avant-garde jazz kind of stuff. It might not be your cup of tea, but it's groovy. It's cool. I'd really recommend it. And yeah, an absolutely stonking set. Really cool playing from the whole band. And the album's called, the album that I love the most, which I will be putting some tracks onto this drumming playlist, my favorite drummers playlist that I'm creating on Spotify for this this live stream, is called Show 'Em Where You Live. And apparently the story goes that when he was on stage one time getting ready to go into his drum solo, someone from the audience shouted, "Show 'em where you live." Which I love. That is the idea of where does he live in his head, with his drumming. Really cool, really beautiful. So that album is absolutely fantastic. Really recommend checking that out. And he did, when I saw him, this wonderful solo. You can find him doing different variations on this on YouTube. It's a solo called Mr. Hi-Hat. And he literally just does a solo on the hi-hat. And he uses all these techniques that no one really uses anymore, different ways of playing the hi-hat. I don't even know any of them, I don't think, really. But they're super cool. You just need to Google Mr. Hi-Hat, Steve Smith, or search on YouTube for that. And he's playing on the different parts of the stand and finding all the sounds he can as well. And then he does a thing where, I wonder if I can do that here. He's controlling one stick just from the fulcrum and bouncing it with the other like a basketball. Really cool. And then, I haven't practiced this for a while. I did at one point. Then he turns it around. In fact, is he playing? Yeah, he's playing traditional grip, I think. So he's doing that, and then he rolls it up his arm. I should have thought about this before, but really, Steve Smith's the guy you should see do this. Rolls it up his arm, back down, still bouncing it on the hi-hat. Then brings his foot up, gets it on his foot, all sorts of stuff. Absolutely cool. People are just kind of shouting with joy at how wonderful this is. And he's just playing on the hi-hat, you know, he's forgotten about the rest of the drums. And I think this is a really good lesson for all drummers, you know, like the idea of pillow talk, where we're just practicing on our pillow or practice pad or snare drum. The idea that we can get really kind of lost in trying to voice things around the kit and use different parts of the drums. And maybe we haven't even learned to use one part of the drums correctly. Maybe we haven't even learned to use these correctly yet. So that's super interesting. I'd really, really recommend checking that out. He's also, amongst his wonderful DVDs and educational stuff that he's put out there, this video or DVD set, The Art of Playing with Brushes. Can I get it so that doesn't flash light off it? Yes, I can. Presented by Adam Nussbaum and Steve Smith. They are talking to 5 of the greats. They're kind of capturing the knowledge of 5 great old drummers: Joe Morello, Charlie Persip, Eddie Locke, Billy Hart, and Ben Riley. All of these guys who were around in the early days of jazz and really understand brushes. And it's just wonderful, all of them imparting the knowledge that they have and all of their years of experience to the camera, to Steve Smith and Adam Nussbaum. I would really, if you want to play with brushes, that's a great video to check out. There's so much information on there. And these guys have just lived it, you know. They've been there almost since the dawn of the drum kit. Remember, the drum kit, is, as it stands, is only 100 years old. Before that, you just had marching band drummers and timpani and, you know, classical stuff. So yeah, really cool video, really worth checking that out. I was talking earlier, of course, about his thing of singing drums. He's got very much into this conical Indian drumming system, which is, I believe, for the first couple of years when you're learning to play the tabla, you don't touch the tabla, you just learn to sing the rhythms, and they have different syllables for each sound. The tabla is one of the most complicated drums in the world. It has so many different techniques just for these 2 drums. They're pitched as well, they're tuned to the notes of the sitar. And they even change the tunings. I've seen this sometimes. They'll change the tunings midway through performing as they get to the next section without stopping. They just keep playing one-handed and change the tuning. Absolutely insane. Or maybe even just retune a little bit. Really cool. So he does, on some of his videos, he's singing these rhythms. Toka-ta-ting, toka-ta-ting, toka-ta-ting. These kind of things. I haven't learned this, but that's kind of stuff that I've heard. This syllabic system, conical, spoken rhythms. And you know me, I'm always here, whatever, always singing these things, because our first point of contact as human beings, our first point of communication as human beings is our voice. Whether it's crying as a baby to burbling away in the cot, in the pram, and, you know, gradually learning to actually communicate our feelings with a little bit more depth. Music is a language, just like the spoken language, and we want to be able to speak it. We want to be able to speak clearly and get our ideas across on our instrument. If we're coming from our voice, it just makes sense that that's going to be a ton easier, right? So I really say to my students, please sing along with yourself when you're drumming. Sing these rhythms to get the hang of them. You don't have to do it in the lesson with me if that's embarrassing, but do it at home. Sing your triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Sing your 16ths. There's a point when you get a bit too fast and you're kind of going to start and slurring a little bit. But you know, that's cool. When we're practicing, we're wanting to slow things down, of course, and practice for perfection. Talking of perfection, yesterday we looked at the Swiss triplets, looking at Rudimental Ritual Lesson 9. For those of you who haven't seen one of these videos before, this is the system from Alan Dawson of teaching the rudiments. The rudiments are our language, there are syllables, there are letters, if you will, the basic foundations of everything we play. And this book, The Drummer's Complete Vocabulary, is an absolute must for anyone who really wants to go deeper into their drumming. It's so worth it. Normally I'm demonstrating these with brushes, but because I want to be in solidarity this week, I'm on the pillow for all you guys without drums. But he recommends practicing them with brushes, and I really would as well, because it's just such a different feel. If you can do it with brushes, you're going to probably be able to do it 10 times faster or thereabouts when you pick up your sticks and get on the kit later on. So really, really recommend doing that. I know Mario, who's watching now, has already been out and got a set of brushes, and he's a guitarist, so you drummers have got no excuse. So we looked yesterday at the rudimental ritual lesson 9, and we just touched on the last of the 3 rudiments from the lesson, the Swiss Army triplet, which has not only 2 different stickings, the left and the right-handed versions, it also has 2 variations where we move the flam in it. So let's remind ourselves of what a Swiss Army triplet is. First of all, from the right hand lead position. We want to practice both right and left hand lead. It's not about whether you're right or left handed. We can get different phrasings, different voicings around the drums by using both of these. And so it's super, super important to practice both ways. As I was talking about yesterday, I was a bit lazy because I loved the left hand version. I used that tons. I never practiced the right hand version so much. So here is the right hand version. I'm now a bit more addicted to this because I've worked out a ton of cool stuff that I can do with this, and I've bored myself with the left hand version. That's what happens if you don't practice everything. You suddenly go, oh man, I want to be able to do the other one. Just do it now. So flam, right, left, flam, right, left. You got that? Flam, right, left, flam, right, left. Flam, right, left, flam, right, left. Flam, right, left, flam, right, left. Lovely little triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, flam, triplet, flam, triplet. Flam, right, left, flam, right, left. Flam, right, left, flam, right, left. Flam, right, left, flam, right, left. Let's sit with that for a moment. Flam, right, left, flam, right, left. Gradually getting a little bit faster. Flam, right, left, without bringing in any tension to our playing. Nice and relaxed. Leaning back a little bit. Lovely posture. Flam right, left, 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 flam right, left. If you're feeling tension coming in, you're beyond your speed, just slow it back down from this point. Flam right, left, flam right, left. Oh, and that's the edge of my speed today. So I'm going to start slowing it back down. Flam right, left, 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 flam right. Really important to slow back down again so we can lose the tension, reinforce the sticking in our hearts and minds and in our bodies, of course. Excellent. Very, very nice. I'm going to move on to the left-hand sticking now, not working with the click so far because I want to look then at the variations. So our left-hand version, flam from the left hand, left, right. So for the flam, remember always keeping the louder hand, the accent note higher, the quieter hand that's going to strike just before a little bit lower. So we get that lovely flop, little flop between the 2 sticks. So pra. Flam left, right, flam left, right, flam left, right, flam left, right, left, right, flam left, right, flam left, right, flam left, right. I talk in more depth about flams. Can I work this out? In lesson 4, in my 4th of these videos, I talk about flams on their own. So if you're not familiar with flams, go back to week or day 4 and you can get the full breakdown of the flam. And I was talking a bit yesterday about the fact that if we take 1 stick away, we notice that we've just got a double in each hand. Left, 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 flam left, right, flam left, right, flam left. Take away the left hand. Oh, right, 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 right. So this is two doubles crossing over each other. Really, really cool. So you see why we do so much singles, doubles work, because these rudiments, these basic rudiments, build up everything else we're doing, along with groups of three, which come up in a ton of stuff as well. We'll get to that later. So let's look a little bit more at that left-hand version. Flam left, right, 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 flam left, right. Flam left, right, flam left, right, flam left, right. Flam left, right, flam left, right, flam left, right. If you've got a mirror next to you, check that your sticks are doing what you think they're doing and that you're not kidding yourself. And they're not just all over the place, really. So keeping that right hand low and the left hand coming up for that lovely accent. Flam left, right, flam left, right, flam left. Just bring a little bit of speed into this. Don't let that tension come in. So that is the left-hand version. I've whizzed through that a little bit because you can go back to yesterday's if you want more practice on that, or practice in your own time. But I want to look at these two lovely, lovely variations. So the variation number one moves the flam to the second note of the triplet. Rather than being on beat one, it goes on to the second beat. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. So we play this starting with the right hand, and it's the left hand that's going to play that flam. Right, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, flam, left. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. Important that we count when we're doing this. If we don't count, we can kid ourselves or trick ourselves that the flam has moved onto the beat, onto the one triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet, one triplet, two triplet, three. And our brain really, if we're playing this without having practiced the variations, and we try and play a variation, we'll move that. We'll actually say to us, no, that's not where the beat is. The beat is on the flam. It's not. Now the beat is on the first right hand. So let's try this with a metronome. One flam, da, 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 da. One flam, da, 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 da. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. Right flam, left, right flam, left, right flam, left, right flam. We're at 80 BPM here. And for some of you, that's going to be fast. Da, 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 right, da, 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 da. I can't say it. Right flam left, 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 right flam. So what you can do, you can come back to this video later and slow it down using the functions that YouTube provides, the speed settings. Right flam left, right flam left, right flam left, right flam, right flam left, right flam. Or of course, if you've got the sticking in your head, then you can just put a metronome on at home, practice it a little bit slower. How lovely is that little flam jumping out on the middle note of our triplet. Excellent. Very, very nice. Let's look at the other variation, starting now with the left hand. Left flam, right. And sorry, I just want to see what you're saying. Yes, it's really fine with brushes. Exactly. Listen to the master there. the master of moving from guitar to drums. Left flam, right, 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 flam, right, left 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 flam, right, flam, right, left 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 flam, right. Da da ba 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 ba. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, triplet, ta 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 ta, triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet. Boom, boom, ba-da-da, boom, 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 ba-da-da, boom. Thinking of a little bass line can help you know where your one is as well. Dum, da-da-da-da, dum, boom, boom. Always thinking musically. So we're not just here to practice techniques, we're here to learn to play music. Left flam, right, left flam, right, flam, right. So I would like to move now to variation number 2, because I want to have time to show you some cool stuff you can do with these once you've got the hang of them. And it's going to come back a little bit to the other things from this lesson, pata fla fla, which we learned yesterday. So importantly, you go back, check that out, study that, practice all of these. Really, if you've never learned these before, we need to go into more detail on them. And I'm going to do that in the future when I'm back in the studio, out of isolation. I'm going to give an individual lesson on each of the rudimental ritual lessons each week. So variation number 3, as you may have guessed, moves the flam now to the third note, the third and final note of the triplet. So the first one, right, left, flam. Got the flam at the end with the right hand there coming up high. Right, left, flam. 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 Da 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 da. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. If you don't know these already as well, of course, there's a ton of online resources that you can use to help you find out more. Loads of other great drummers on YouTube talking about this stuff. And some not so great. So if you don't agree or don't like someone's vibe, don't watch them. But usually, for example, Vic Firth, usually if there's some brand, I'm not sponsored by Vic Firth. If there's a brand associated with the video, it's usually good. And Vic Firth specifically do some really, really good rudimental lessons on YouTube. So that's moving it to the end of the triplet. Let's try that again in context with a click, just so that we can hear where that's really landing. 3, 4, right, left flam, 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 flam, right, left flam, right, left flam, right, left flam, right, left flam. Even almost an hour into our practice, still remembering to check our posture. Right, left flam, right, left flam. But we're nice and relaxed. Excellent. Very, very nice. You can, of course, hopefully spend some more time with that than we are today. And I really, really would recommend it. All of these things will just start to come into your playing. Let's look at the left-hand variation. And then I want to show you some cool things you can do once you got the hang of these a little bit more. Left-hand variation, still moving the flam to the end. Left, right, flam. Left hand coming high for that flam. Left, right, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, flam. Oh, left, right, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, flam, right, flam, left, 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 right, flam, right, flam, left, 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 right, flam, da 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 so you can see how cool that is. It kind of bubbles, having the flam on the last note of the triplet. Really bounces around, bubbles around. So do, of course, try all of these with a metronome and different tempos, gradually building up the tempo. Try splitting them between different drums. If you've got the drum kit at home, sounds super, super cool. I'm going to look at some more of that kind of stuff in the future, actually. But for today, I just want to show us how we could start to piece them together. And so we could make a lovely little phrase if we just take two of our variations, put them together. So 2 times round one of the triplets variations, or the original Swiss Army triplets, and then 2 times the next one. So for example, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, flam, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, flam, left, right, blah, 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 blah. I'm playing a flam accent. Why am I doing that? Flam, right, left, flam, right, left, flam. That's because I've got a different rhythm in my head. Flam, right, left, flam, right, flam, right, left, flam, right, flam, right. I can't do the thing that I want to do now. This is why you should always practice the thing before you try and do it. Flam, right, flam, right, flam, right, flam, 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 right, flam, right, flam, right, flam, right, flam, right, flam, right, flam. This is a great finish to the video, isn't it? So instead of that, seeing as I can't actually do what I wanted to do, I'm going to show you a couple of the ideas. Going around the kit, I'm going to move to brushes and just some really, really nice, simple-ish ideas that we could do with this. If we play a little groove, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, we could fit that in there. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. Little shuffle groove. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba. So now I'm taking one note, the flammed note, and I'm splitting it between the snare and the ride cymbal in this case. Could be the floor tom, high tom, anything you fancy. A bit weirder going to the hi-hat. Maybe you'd want to use the left hand coming up to the hi-hat, of course. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, boom. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba, da, zoom. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba. Careful not to hit your microphone. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba. So, doom. Ba, zaka, da, ba, ba, da, ba. Ka-doom. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba. Ka-doom. Doom. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba. Ba, doom. So there you are, just one little tidbit that you can see how these kind of go into your playing, how these can get into your playing. Another lovely little idea, that's what I probably should have done first actually, is that we can fit this into 16ths by playing 4 times the 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, and then just 4 singles at the end, whatever you fancy at the end. Ba ba da fla ba da flam ba da flam ba da 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 boom. Scat gat gadum ba da bra ba da bra ba da bra ba da bra ba da 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 boom. Scat gadum ba. Flam right, the flam right, the flam right, the flam right, the da 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 boom. Scat. That idea just works so well. Do it with a reverse one. Do do bra do do bra do do bra do do bra da 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 boom. Scat gadum ba. Etc. So you can mess around with these as much as you like, but I will go into more detail on those in the future. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you've had a lovely time. I hope you're now going to go and check out Steve Smith, spend some more time with your Swiss Army triplets. I've been Fred. Please don't forget I'm here every weekday, 10 a.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Central European time. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, tell your mum about it, whatever you want to do. And I will be back again tomorrow, same time, same place, because we can't go anywhere else. So I look forward to seeing some of you then. Thanks so much, guys. Goodbye.